Hello, Frizzle Fantastics! Ranking how I like to consume books. At the bottom, it's a hardback, then a floppy paperback, then ebooks, and then audiobooks. But it wasn't always that way. When I was a kid, it was 100% physical books all the time. So what changed? When I was about 20, I started checking out ebooks and audiobooks from my digital library, and it changed the game. I completely fell in love with always having a book on me on my phone, ready to go. I love the portability and the accessibility of it. And it quickly became that I was reading 50 to 100 ebooks on my phone a year. Just an absurdly large amount of ebooks. And this was going great for me until I started having to stare at computer screens all day, every day for my work, and it was hurting my eyes. And when I got home, after staring at a computer screen all day, I did not want to stare at my phone screen for hours, no matter how much my heart yearned to read the ebook. So I decided that I needed an e-reader. And my ebook reading game immediately improved. I got this device from the brand Boox, which I chose because you're not locked into only Kindle books and you're not locked into only Nook books. And I'll talk more about that later, but first I want to focus on why get an e-reader in general and what makes them so much better for your eyes. The first thing that you have to understand is that a typical phone screen, computer screen, and an e-reader screen are completely different. An LCD screen is made up of a bunch of little lights, every pixel colored lights. An e-reader screen, it works like a really high-tech Etch-a-Sketch, where every single pixel is a capsule that has magnetic ink inside of it, which is why e-reader devices are called e-ink devices, where every pixel can get triggered to send a magnetic signal into it and switch it from black to white. Which is why most e-readers are black and white only. There are some high-tech e-readers that are in color, and they're pretty cool, but they do come with a hefty price tag. So why is this so much better for your eyes? Because you're not shining a light directly on them. Now, in all modern e-readers, you can turn on a light, but by default, it's off. If I took this into a dark room right now, it would be completely pitch black. And that is why Kindle brands these as like paper white and paper-like screens, because it's not shining a light in your face, where it's lit by the normal light sources in the room. If I took this outside, it would only be easier to read under the glare of the sun, unlike an LCD screen, where the pixel lights on your phone are fighting against that sun. Now, with the light on here, you are shining a little bit of light in your eyes, but even with the light on, it's still much better for your eyes than an LCD screen. And I'll back that up by showing you a research paper in my tour of this device in a few minutes. This device also has a warm light function. Here's that turned up all the way. And the way that these lights work is they're around the edge. You can see here as I tilt the screen, the little light pricks at the bottom there. And those is what's lighting this up. One of the other pros of an e-reader is that the battery life efficiency is fantastic. I'm reading like minimum a book or two a week on this, and I charge it like once every 2 weeks. I know Kindle batteries are even better. And that's because the battery only gets used when it's changing the screen. To just maintain one image, it doesn't take any work. The ink is placed and it's static and it's just like an Etch-a-Sketch sitting there. So the eye strain is the biggest reason that I decided to get an e-reader. It was kind of like an investment in my future eyes because I knew if I kept this up of reading so many books on my phone, it was not doing me any favors. And when I first bought it, I was a little skeptical. Like, how much difference is it really going to make? So like day one, I read for a few hours on this thing, and then I picked up my phone to check a text and I recoiled from it because I was like, why is this so bright? So like, yeah, it really does make a difference. I love that the e-reader has a lot less distractions than my phone. If I'm reading an ebook on my phone, I'm constantly checking my texts and this and that, and I'm one click away from the endless scroll. But on an e-reader, it's a lot more separate and calmer. I also love it for reading outdoors in the sun. I can't do that on my phone. The screen cannot take it, and reading is so hard. I'm sure you guys can relate. But an e-reader is only easier to use with more ambient light. It's also better for reading at night. I turn on the light on my e-reader and it's much easier on my eyes than my phone, even on dark mode. Also, comparing e-readers to physical books, I still much prefer e-readers. Because you know what? I need 2 hands to read this. It's a one-handed device. I can lay on my side while reading. It's so much smaller and easier to take on the go. I don't have to worry about it getting damaged and bruised so easily. It's so easy to throw this in my bag or even in my coat pocket and have it with me all the time. And generally, ebooks are cheaper than physical books, which I love. And I can store literally hundreds of ebooks where I don't have the shelf space for literally hundreds of physical books. There's definitely a romanticization out there of the feeling of a physical book in your hand and the smell of it. But I've never really gotten that. Like, I love books. I love the smell of books. It's fun, but really the pros so outweigh the cons, and I love ebooks so much more than physical books. So who would I recommend e-readers in general to? This includes the one I have, this includes Kindles, Nooks. I think if you love ebooks but want something that's easier on your eyes, an e-reader. If you love reading ebooks on your phone but want to get away from your phone's distractions, e-reader. I don't know if I'd recommend an e-reader if you don't already love ebooks, but if you want to get into them, I'd say it's probably the best purchase I've ever made, and I've used it every single day since I bought it. And now let's get into talking about this specific device and how it's not Kindle or Nook or Kobo or any of the other big brands, and why I decided to go with this one. So it's time for a tour of my e-reader. I have an Onyx Boox Poke 4. Onyx Boox is the brand, and I chose it for a very simple reason, which is I didn't want to be locked in to only Kindle books or to only Barnes & Noble books on a Nook. I wanted freedom and flexibility on my device. So with this, I can get the Kindle app. I can get the Libby app. Here's where I have my Bible study. I take notes on Notion and a bunch of other little things. And I chose this one, the Poke 4, because it was the smallest one. And I wanted something that I could conceivably fit in at least some of my pockets and hold easily one-handed. This cost me $120. And I've already told you a lot of the pros of e-readers in general, and I'm going to go through a lot of what I love about this device, but first I want to tell you about some of the things I don't like so much about this device. The operating system is somewhat difficult and clunky. For example, here we have using the Kindle app. It works really well a lot of the times, but I had to game it quite a bit to get it to work this well. There's a lot of different modes of the way that the screen refreshes, which is just the way that it changes regularly, and you have to kind of try around a little bit to figure out which mode works best for which apps. Additionally, I had to do this filter animation by page turn time, because originally it was at 0. And then the Kindle app, when you turn pages, has this little animation, and you can see it gets pretty ugly if you don't filter it out. So in some ways, having so many options to be able to optimize exactly how every app works is awesome. But it does mean that you have to put in the work to optimize every app if you want it to look good. Though I haven't encountered any problems with the battery. I've heard that books devices in general tend to have like maximum 5 years life because the batteries start expanding and failing. Which yes, happens to all devices eventually, but Kindles last much longer. It also naturally, whenever you're connected to internet, sends constant updates to the company. I've downloaded an app called NetGuard in order to block that constant updating, but usually I keep it off Wi-Fi anyway, just because it saves the battery better, and I don't need to connect to Wi-Fi unless I'm downloading new books. Now let's talk about all the pros of this device, because I love it. I would give this 5 stars, even with some of the glitchy interface things. One of my favorite things is this Books Drop app that comes with it. This is a lot like Apple AirDrop, where if I'm on the same Wi-Fi as this device, I can turn on my Books Drop and I can get files sent from my computer to this device so easy. I love it. It's seamless. It always works. You can also get files in through the USB-C connection, but I've never tried that personally. Now let's look at where those files go when you take it from Bookstrop. This device can handle pretty much any document ebook file you can give it. And it's got a really nice inbuilt library reader app for all of those. I love reading PDFs on this device, which I know sounds a little clunky. Like right here, I have a research paper that I was reading in prep, and it's a study on e-readers and visual fatigue. Is this actually better for your eyes? Spoiler, it is much better for your eyes than phones. And as you can see, the default view here, you can't really read the words very well, but this device has such a cool feature. Like a lot of other things on the device, it's very customizable, where I can say I want to go into article mode, and then it splits up the page automatically into fourths, and then there we go. Now I can read it, and it's so easy to scroll through the article like this. And I can reset to get right back to the pages. So this study, they had people read on a book, on an e-reader, and on a LCD normal tablet device. And then they measured eye strain through a bunch of different metrics, from surveying the people to recording how often they blinked. And in every single metric that they measured, the e-reader was significantly better than the LCD screen. Now, oftentimes their e-reader was in between the LCD screen and the paper, but I feel like this is because they had the lights turned on. So they weren't presenting the e-reader to people like this, where I have all the lights turned off right now. They had them on. Let's turn on the warm light function like that. So it would make sense that this is shining a little bit more light in your eyes and would cause a little bit more eye strain, but even with this front light on, it's still superior to reading on your phone or reading on an iPad or a kind of tablet like that. There's so many things that you can do with this built-in reading app, and I love it, mostly for PDFs. Oftentimes when I'm reading an ebook, EPUB kind of file, I import it into my Kindle app just so I can have everything there together. So let's turn back off this light and just run only on this ring light above you, and I want to show off some of the accessories I've gotten for this and how they work. So, I got this little holder for the back. I considered getting a pop socket, but I ended up going with this. It's got a strap for easy one-handed holding, and it also has these little kickstands so I can prop it up well, which is working pretty well so you don't have to see all the glare from the ring light. I also got this strap that I used for a while before I got this little sticky on the back, where I just went like that, and then I can hold it easily in my hand one-handed, but I've since graduated to this small one. I also got this little carrying case for it because I wanted to just be able to throw this in my bag and not worry about the screen getting all scratched up or dented against something. So got a little bag that fits it pretty well. And there we go, can throw this now in my backpack. Now some of the devices I got for this are really cool because they would not work with a Kindle. So that includes a page turn clicker. This was not built to turn pages on an e-reader. This was built to take photos when your phone is over on a tripod. But the cool thing about the Bluetooth of this Boox device that is not available on the Kindle devices is that it can connect to keyboards, which is what this technically is. So I can turn this on and that on, it connects, and then turn pages, easy as that. If I wanted a page turn remote for a Kindle, I'd have to get something that physically clicked on here and physically tapped the side of the page, which is just pretty annoying, don't you think? And like I said, this, unlike the Kindle, can handle Bluetoothing to keyboards, including actual Bluetooth keyboards. So if I want to take notes on this, of course, I can just type on the screen, but if I wanted to write a longer note, I can pull out my Bluetooth keyboard, which I got one that folds up and also fits in the bag. So sometimes I pack those together when I'm expecting to take a lot of notes. And those are all my accessories. And now I want to show you around the Kindle app a little bit. The Kindle app is actually super smooth and works really well. So all of the things that you can do on a regular Kindle, you can also just do on the Kindle app on your phone or on an e-reader that supports it, which is not most e-reader companies like Nook because they're in direct competition with Kindle, but this one is just open. You can literally download apps from the Google Play Store here. Though not all of them work 100% well. There are some glitches sometimes. So all of those Kindle things include things like the time left in the book, the percentage, that you can highlight things super easy, take notes, all of the above. Let's show you around what I have downloaded on my Kindle right now. I have things downloaded that I'm intending to read and pick up soon. Right now I'm in the middle of With a Golden Sword by Rachel Aaron. We have quite a few books to get through. We've got Amok by Anna Tan, which is on my 24 books I need to read in 2024, and I bought. I've got some other Rachel Aaron books that I need to get around to. I've got Falcon by Emma Bull. I actually just read this, but I'm going back and I'm adding more notes into the margins as I make a video about it. And then I've got other books on here like the Rom-Commers and There Is a Door in This Darkness, which are ARCs from the publisher. That stands for Advanced Reader Copies. I request them through a website called NetGalley, and then I can send them directly to my Kindle account and they show up here. We've got To the Bloody End, another Rachel Aaron. Yes, I am going to read her entire backlist. I'm working my way through it, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Some more ARCs like Lorne, Tangled Up in You, A Dark and Drowning Tide, and The Last Murder at the End of the World, and other books that I bought from Kindle that I'm planning to get around to soon, like Freedom and Necessity, Secrets of Peace, Flaws of Gravity, and Blood over Bright Haven. I've got Mockingjay, which I'm using as a tool for language learning. As you can see, I'm only 1% in, so I haven't really accomplished that goal yet, but I have it here because I want to. And some other books that I've bought from Kindle and are planning to get around to soon, like Finder, In Plain Sight, Thrice, and This Ragged Company. And that's my e-reader. I love this device. I use it every day to read Kindle books, to read research paper, PDFs, to read the Bible, and I love it. And if you're considering getting an e-reader because you love ebooks, I would honestly really recommend it. And if you liked watching this video, I recommend this one next, where I'm digging into the science behind my reading and really breaking down how to improve my reading based on statistics.